Hello, this is Alejandro Brati and William Eiley from Unlock Clarity, and welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Single TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Single TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free and is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. In the last weeks, we have been talking with William about the self discipline and the journey within, discovering that inner direction that we have. And something that we love to do in our programs is to bring real life examples and things that we're going through at the same time. And even when we were thinking about creating a new program about another thing, uh, suddenly we started to talk last Friday with William about something that we're going through in the same at the same moment, and it's about uncluttering. Why that is important, and we're going to focus on that. So, William, how are you? First, let's start with that.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Actually got to mow part of my yard today, so I'm a little bit sleepy right now.
And I know that in the last weeks you have been working very hard in cleaning an area in your house. So tell us a little bit. Well, in the warehouse, or I don't know exactly
My
how it.
father's old garage.
Oh, your
Haven't
father's.
technically started on my place yet.
So, what did you find? How was it? And what are the things that you are learning from that process?
Last October, um, I it's let's see here. My father's been has passed over 2 years ago and a few months, and so it's taken my brother and I a couple of years to get to everything, just because, well, life happens and it hasn't really been a priority. So last October, we started working on part of the garage. Um, there are three bays in the garage, and this is the right one. It was, I'm going to say, 5 feet deep. How wide? I'm going to say probably 15 to 20 feet wide and maybe 40 feet long and about 5 feet deep, almost front to back.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I got some stuff cleaned out. A, a large portion of, well, there was a few feet on against the wall that was my stuff that I left 30 years ago. And then the rest of it got piled in over the years. Um, Dad and I would get, or Dad would get some new thing or whatever. And so I'd figure out where to stuff it on that side. And so uh, we got a bunch of that cleared out last year. And then this year was fine tuning, getting to my stuff, cleaning things out, um, moving it from one side of the garage to the other because I've got a corner in there that needs to come over here. Hence the need to clean over here. Because I learned well from my dad: get all you can all you get, and then buy more so you don't have to eat what you canned. Yeah.
And that's so what we're why we are talking about this topic, and why we feel that it's really relevant with this self-discipline and really achieving your goals, because everything starts with your mindset. So I started to talk about that, how your mind works, and why how that relates to what you started to see.
One thing we figured out last April, over a year ago, um, the the main phrase that we kept running into when we were cleaning out their house: why the hell did they keep that? And so I'm looking around at things that I've got, and it's like, why am I keeping this? And so I've discovered over the years that everything I have takes up a space in my brain.
Mm.
And so learning from a couple of grade A clutter people. You could almost call them hoarders. It wasn't quite that bad, but it's like that's a thing that I've noticed is I think I got a good idea of it whenever I was reading the book Getting Things Done. Um, is everything takes up a space in my brain, and the more that I have, the more space it takes up in my brain, and the less able I am to take on new projects.
Mm,
And so, um, the more that I can get transformed, I've got a space for storage that isn't being used well. And so I'm making shelves again to store some of these things that I actually keep. And the stuff that I throw away, I've forgotten if it was 1 or 2 years ago, we went through a big round of cleaning here and it freed up so much space in my brain. It amazed me.
mm. Yeah, and that happens a lot because if we are growing and thinking, yeah, maybe I want to move to another house, and it's like, okay, and what happened with all the stuff that I have now? Suddenly, just by thinking about moving, it's like, oh no, that is a mess. Like when I am going to move, or and things that we have in our head, uh, we don't realize how they are stopping us and becoming a limiting uh, belief at the end, and it's limiting us in everything in our lives, just because okay, I have all this stuff and what I am going to do with that. And happens the same even with the things in the computer. Okay, I need 4 hard drives to have all the stuff that I have. And when you open the hard drives, never. But you have 10 terabytes of information that you may use one day and you never use them. So it's this thing that we do, and sometimes we don't think about that, but we want to improve in the focus. Yes, okay, you are going to start to focus better if you start to get out of the things that you don't use.
Yes, exactly.
So you started to find things that happen with clutter. Why clutter for you? What did you find that clutter was for you? Like a place for safety. Why that is what safety? What do you think was happening?
Hmm. Yeah, I vaguely remember when we were talking about this last week. It has something to do with fear. I
Mm,
might not be able to find this later.
mm,
So I either need to keep it or okay, yeah, I know it's broken, but I can probably fix it even though I'm going to replace it with something else. So it's coming from a place of lack, fear of non-abundance, that there is enough and that I will be taken care of. And if I need it again, I'll be able to get it again.
mm.
Because
And
we have a store here called Sam's Club Warehouse, and the basic concept is if you go in there and you see a thing that they have, get it now because it might not be there later.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that starts to create the same thing. And the thing is that when you start to create a belief in that area, and that's something that we start to connect here, is like you start to create that belief here, and suddenly you start to apply it in other things, even when that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Whoever said the brain was logical when it came to fear of missing out.
Mm, exactly. So there other questions that you started to find, like, about the cleaning, what is going to happen, and you started to talk a little bit about your place, because you started in your father's house, and okay, that is the place that I want to have it clean and okay and perfect, and suddenly you start to come to your home and start to find things.
The challenge is There are some things from my father's place that I want to bring over here.
Mm.
There isn't any more room for those things. So if I don't clean up here, I there's no way I can bring them over here. And my brother is like, these need to leave here soon. Okay, well, I will use that as an excuse because I have to have a reason and an excuse to get something done. It's kind of like a couple of my favorite speakers. They don't do anything unless they have a speaking gig on the books. They don't get anything ready unless it's. So I'm using that as my reason for making changes here because, like I say, there's some big pieces that need to come over here, and there's nowhere to put them.
So at the end, we have this program about unlock clarity, and it's like
That's
how we unlock clarity.
yeah, that's my clarity moment.
Exactly, is realizing like, okay, I want to bring these things because they are going to be very useful. Okay, but at the same time, I have this place full of things that I don't need, that I don't use,
And they're not useful.
and I am waiting to give it to others or whatever, just because I think that. And the idea that we want to bring today is self-discipline can start after you start to declutter. When we are cluttered and we are like our brain is full of things in our head, suddenly it's not possible that we are doing whatever we want to do. So how we start to declutter here our head is going to create everything. Uh, so let's start to give some examples and what how we are going to help people that wants to declutter and start to have this self-discipline in their lives.
So you were nice enough to have our AI friend come up with an 11-step process for us.
So let's start with, okay, everything starts with the mind. It's like at the end, even when we are seeing things in our house that are not really organized and or they are there even when I don't need them, uh, you can start to have the awareness like, okay, something is happening, something is coming from the inside in my mind that is leading to this. And that's exactly what William was saying. Like, okay, maybe there is a fear or a lack, uh, a mentality of there is a lack, I am not going to get it. So the first step that we always recommend is to start small. Okay, start to clean your desk. Don't try to fix something big because you are going to start to stop like very quick, and you don't want to continue. But what happens
Overwhelm was set in, and nothing will happen.
exactly? So start small.
Create a system. Sort things into piles of keep, donate, or sell, and throw away to simplify the process.
Something that is really really important, let go attachments. A lot of the times we are attached to some of the things, yeah, because my kid gave me this when he was born, and it's like, okay, why you have it the last 20 years here? It's like there is no reason to have it here. So let go attachment, start to realize that there is an attachment and that is taking energy from you.
Yes. Define your goals. Um, in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, I like Maxwell Maltz changes the word goals to projects. So either way, define your goal, define your project, identify what you want to achieve and why it's important. Because if you don't know why it's important, it won't get done.
And every time that you create a project or a goal, sometimes, like almost all the times, are really big. And this is a big project that I have. Okay, that is fine. That is perfect. Start to divide it in little things. Like, okay, break it down and start to realize what are the little things. that you need to happen in order to succeed.
So then we come to one of my personal nemesis: prioritize. Determine which tasks are most important and focus on those first. So, like, I would break that down in terms of um, like building a house, filling in a room of the house. It's like, what's important? Well, I have to have the boards that hold the walls in place, and then I have to have electricity running through those before I can put the material on top of the boards and just go like that, because my priority filter is broken. As a guy with ADHD in the room, it's just, that's one of my nemesis: is what's more important, the fly or the fact that the wall's on fire, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I've prioritized what's going on. Then what?
Then organize. Start, and really, when we are talking about organize, is start.
Just
Sometimes we start to organize something, and then we realize that it's better in another way, and it's fine to change it. But start. We think that organizing is something that I have to know exactly how it's going to be each of the things, and suddenly, until you start, are going to start to realize how to do it.
because we all know that an object at rest tends to stay at rest.
Exactly.
Start. And then create a schedule. It's specific times for doing the things, the cleaning tasks, and stick to it as much as possible, because it's kind of like working out. If we don't know why and we don't have a reason, it's not going to happen.
And even using the example of William, for example, what he's doing with his dad's place, at the end, he needs to be accountable, and he has his brother like, okay, if you don't take a decision here, something is going to happen. So that helps a lot also. Even like, okay, maybe you have your wife, your husband, and it's near, and like, okay, hold me accountable on this. I want to achieve this goal, and the idea is to have it in this time. So the schedule and something to hold you accountable is really important.
Exactly. And then, oh yeah, one of the other nemesises of mine is the maintenance part. Regularly make sure, even reorganize your stuff if you need to to prevent the clutter from building up again. And oh my God, is that difficult some days, some weeks, some months, because, well, depression happens. I mean, it's a thing.
And not only that, at the end, it's very at the end you make a project of creating something and you clean it and you have that as a project, and finally you are done because you make it and make it happen. But maintain it is another part of of your mindset. It's like how you are. And if you don't do it at the same moment, then you start to create a clutter again, and suddenly in 6 months is a mess worse than before.
Yes.
So maintaining and regularly checking how are you doing. And in my case, I will tell you, in my case, really my wife has been a blessing for me in that part, because she's really organized, and that's something that helps me a lot to, okay, sometimes it's like, oh, why I have to be cleaning all the time and putting the things in the same place. But at the end, when I start to realize that maintaining is easier than doing a new project again about that.
Yeah.
And the last point is practice self-care. That it's something that at the end you need to take care of yourself in the process. Maybe you have a big project that you want to do everything at once, and it's not possible. So take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, and you are going to start to have things done. And
And
so
we
that
have to give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves sometimes.
exactly. So this is the end of the program. Thank you, William, and thank you everyone that was listening to us today. Really, we wanted to give you like real examples and how to maintain and really decluttering and organizing and having self-discipline is something that is going to improve everything in your life, in your work, in your life, in your environment. Everything starts to be much better. So thank you for listening. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you all. See you next time.